Hello everyone, welcome back to another Fallout 76 build video. Today we're going to be focusing on the Gatling Plasma. Now this is a really fun weapon to use. It's not too hard to get hold of either, and it does some decent damage. It's nothing really to write home about and saying that, you know, it's going to be a real meta weapon. There is obviously different ways you can build this into like a flamethrower style if you like that. This build that I have for it right now, it's kind of focusing on it being sort of like a pepper shaker, which I really like, and just focusing on a lot of shotgun champ and limb damage and stuff like that stacking. Now to get hold of this weapon, all you have to do is head over to the White Springs bunker here, the White Springs Resort, head to the armory section for the mortars terminal. It sells the plan there for the Gatling Plasma. I think it's like 2,500 caps or something along those lines, but it's really not that hard to get hold of. Now we're going to talk about how we have built this weapon. So for our 1-star legendary, we have 2-shot. This is to give us more pellets, basically. I think it's about 4 or 5 without having 2-shot on. I want to say it's 5, and that gives us ×7 instead of ×5 on our damage, which is really nice there. And obviously 25 ×7 as well. So we are getting some pretty good damage numbers with this, with all the stacks going on. We also have rapid just for it to shoot a lot faster. You can play around with rapid, explosive, whatever you prefer. I prefer having higher DPS, so we have rapid there. And then we have intelligence too. Intelligence, this is to give us some extra damage with the science card. We have the standard receiver. You can go for the prime receiver if you want to do that. Obviously, prime plasma cores cost a lot more to make, so make sure that you have plenty of resources for that. We also have the rifled barrel, the large core receptacle, reflex sight, and the beam splitter. The beam splitter is the one that gives us a lot more shots as well. So that's how we have the Gatling Plasma built, and it is a pretty fun time doing that. Now, for the armor piece, it's just my T65 armor that I always use for doing high intelligence builds. The helmet is the main thing here. You can use this on any power armor really, but as long as you get like an internal database on the helmet, that gives you +2 intelligence there. And for my mods that I have on every armor piece, I have lucid, intelligence, and through hikers. Intelligence being the key one. We want to build up the intelligence up to 30 maximum. You can go over 30. You know, like I always say, it's diminishing returns really. You go over 30, you don't really get many percentage bonuses there, but you can do that if you want. Currently, I'm at 32, so that's totally fine. But yeah, intelligence on 2-star on every single piece is what you need. Lucid if you're a ghoul. If you're a human, you want to look for the likes of overeaters, and I believe there is another one off the top of my head. I can't really think. It's when you fill up your health meter, you actually have a damage reduction applied there as well. But either way, intelligence is really solid, and lucid for ghoul there. So now let's talk about the build itself. So let's go over the perk cards and stuff real quick. So for the special, I have 12 in strength, 8 in perception, 7 endurance, 3 charisma, 12 intelligence, 8 in agility, and 6 in luck. So I actually don't have many ghoul perks on this build, and I'm not really getting many benefits from them, mainly because I usually use Wild West Hands, and Wild West Hands does not work well with this weapon at all, unfortunately. So my legendary cards, I have 3 in strength, we have 2 in perception, 2 endurance, 3 in intelligence, 4 agility, and 2 in luck. Now for strength, we have bring in the big guns, shotgun champ, very important shotgun champ. This gives us 10% damage to crippled targets per projectile your weapon fires. It obviously fires 7 projectiles, so we'll be getting 70% extra damage to any target that is crippled, which is very nice. We have easy target as well, giving us 75% range damage to crippled targets. We have barbarian just to gain some damage resistance based on our strength. Since our strength's at 15 right now, we have some good damage resistance to gain there. I just had a spare point. I just put barbarian on. It's not a be-all end-all perk by any means. We also have bullet storm. You get 9% damage per 30 ammo spent. We're spending a lot of ammo really fast. This is why I like using rapid, because we have bullet storm, so we can get to those maximum stacks faster, which is 20, I believe, because we have obviously bring in the big guns, which adds to that. We also have lock and load. You keep half of your bullet storm stacks when you reload, 1% speed per stack. So on perception, we have number cruncher. This is really good. This actually gives us more damage per AP cost for our weapon. We have tank killer, center maskers, and deal sealer. Since this isn't a VATS build, center maskers is actually really good for this, and deal sealer again, plus 10% damage for each impairment our target has. It gives us extra damage to go along with shotgun champ. On endurance, we have Ironclad, Chem Diet, and Hardy. Chem Diet, I'm very addicted to using that being a ghoul. It is so good because I don't have to spend a ton of chems to get my feral meter up, especially if we're using Lucid. It keeps our damage resistance up very nice. And Hardy, you know, again, it's just extra points that I had to spend there. Charisma, we have Strange in Numbers and Tenderizer. Then Intelligence, we have First Aid, Field Surgeon, Power User, Stabilize, Science, Batteries Included, and Gunsmith. You really want to use Stabilize. Stabilize is extremely important, especially if you are using this weapon, because the accuracy on this weapon, when you turn it into a sort of a pepper shaker, it goes crazy. It does not beam very well at all. So Stabilize massively helps out with that, by the way. And Science is very important as well, because that gives us more damage based on our intelligence. And then on Agility, we have Gunslinger, Gunslinger Expert, Guerrilla, Guerrilla Expert, and Guerrilla Master. And there's nothing else we can really put in there that's going to help us out. And in Luck, we have One Gun Army, Critical Savvy. I don't know why I have Critical Savvy on, actually. That needs to be taken off because it's very pointless. So there's an extra 3 ones that we can put in there. And we have 2 in Faulty Spots. You know what? Actually, what I was supposed to put on was Class Freak, not Critical Savvy. I think I just got the cards mixed up. So yeah, that's what Luck should look like: Class Freak, Faulty Spots, and One Gun Army. One Gun Army very important as well. And like I said, usually I would have Wild West hands in here, but really the only Ghoul perk we're getting benefit from here is Faulty Spots. Obviously, we have Chem Diet on, but Faulty Spots is at least giving us plus 15% weak point damage, which is very nice. So now let's talk about the mutations that we have for the build, and we'll talk over some special stats as well. So as you can see here, we have 35 intelligence right now, so we actually have quite a lot of intelligence. And for the effects that we have there, if you look at the science card, I've gone 5 over 30. If I didn't go 5 over 30, it would just be at 35%. But as you can see here, I'm at 36% energy damage, which it's just very terrible going over it, because you just don't really get massive amounts of extra damage once you go past 30 on intelligence, unfortunately. Okay, so if we look at the effects that we have here for our mutations, we have Adrenal Reaction, pretty helpful, especially if you're doing grunt hunts and stuff like that. This actually gives us some extra damage while we're on a kill streak. We have Bird Bones. Bird Bones is important for this build. That is mainly for VATs. Eagle Eyes, again, another one that's mainly for VATs. The most important one is Egghead, because that gives you plus 6 intelligence too. And the great thing about this build is you can gain a lot of XP using it too on top of that, because, you know, even being a ghoul, it just feels like everything is kind of against you while you're playing the game, but you'll definitely gain a lot more XP using a build like this. We also have Marsupial, and we have Speed Demon there. So usually at the end of my video, I'd give you a build that requires no legendary cards. However, I don't really feel like that's necessary for this build in this gun, because I feel like you would be pretty far into the game and did have some legendary perk cards to throw on. What I will do, though, is highlight some important perk cards that you want on. So you definitely want all of these except Barbarian. Every single one in Strength you want instead of Barbarian there. You want all of the Perception ones. You could potentially not do with Deal Sealer. Ironclad is the most important one in Endurance. These are just 2 extra ones. If you can fit them in, then go for it. Charisma, Tenderizer is the most important one there. For Intelligence, Stabilize, Science, and probably Power User. Those 3 are very important. I like having Gunsmith on as well, and Batteries Included. But, you know, these ones, since you are probably going to be maxing out your Intelligence, you can pretty much put all of these ones on. Agility, try and fit them on if you can. Gunslinger Expert and stuff. This just gives us extra stacks while we're firing the weapon, then giving us more onslaught damage, which is good. And then Luck, One Gun Army is the most important one. So you definitely don't need to have legendary perks for this build, but like I said, you probably have some set out already. But thank you guys so much for checking out the build video. Hopefully it helps you out making a Gatling Plasma, and a really fun one at that. I said it's really cool using this like a pepper shaker. If you have any questions or comments about the build, feel free to leave them down below, and hit that like button, hit that sub button for more Fallout 76 content on this channel. I've been Pixels, my awesome views. I'll catch you guys in the next one.